Welcome back to the Oakwell Update. I'm Holly Tandy.
And I'm Callum Cooper.
It's been another busy week here since we sat down with the legendary Nick Eden, and it's about to get a whole lot busier with Saturday's game being the first of 3 games at Oakwell in 7 days.
And tonight's episode, we will take a look back at the game that's just passed. We'll look ahead to a busy week and the game at the weekend, of course. And we will also take a look at our history with On This Day, Barnsley. But first, we have an interview with one of our own.
A couple of weeks ago, the club announced that academy graduate Matty Wolfe's contract with Barnsley had expired. Matty had to undergo one final bit of routine surgery, and the club is providing a home for him to rehabilitate. But once he is fit and ready, the midfielder will leave the club. Comms man Lewis Robinson caught up with Matty exclusively for the Oakwell Update. Take a look.
Wolfie, first of all, thank you for your time joining us on the Oakwell Update. Really appreciate it. First of all, obviously the news came out last week about your time at the club. Let's just sort of discuss that. You've been here a long time. Of course, it's not ended how you wanted it to, but just sort of talk us through the last 12 months and what it's been like.
Yeah, the last 12 months, to be fair, it's been a bit of a back and forth. I'd get to like a certain point and then something else had come up in the knee, so I've had a few operations, few setbacks, few niggles. But that's life with this injury. It's not a nice injury, probably the worst injury you could get. So yeah, just been doing the most I can to hopefully get back out there soon and show what I can do.
As you say, it's been an incredibly tough period.
Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about your family? What have you learned about your friends? How have you sort of got through it?
Yeah, I found out I'm mentally strong. I've always got a smile on my face, no matter what's going on, because I think there's always worse things that can be happening to you other than an injury in football. Getting to come into the club every day is a benefit too. Yeah, and all my friends, my missus, my mum, dad, granddad, everyone, just been there for me, asking how I am, asking how my knee feels. So yeah, I can't thank them all enough, to be fair. They're just all looking forward to seeing me out there playing again.
And how key have the club been in their support? Because it was announced as well last week that despite your contract being up, the club will still, make sure you're okay, look after you, give you a place to sort of rehabilitate. How important has that been? Yeah,
it's good. It's nice to know. Well, like I said, it could be way worse. I could be going through, I don't know, NHS or what have you, getting my rehab. So it's good to be able to get my rehab, hopefully get a few 21s games when I'm back, just for fitness, and then look and have a see what I want to do going forward.
Yeah, and in terms of the future, it's of course we want to play football, and that's your aim. In the limited sort of time you've had training and with the ball, have you felt sort of that come back a little bit? Do you feel like your old self again in parts?
Yeah, a lot. Well, even like last year, I remember going back in and volleying one with my left foot straight into top corner straight away. So I felt, obviously you don't lose it, but it's just getting back out there, and that's the main thing. It doesn't matter what you can do if you can't get back out there. So that's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, Barnsley fans know what you're capable of. You've been here a long time now. You've come through the academy system. You've been here since you're a little boy.
Yeah.
Just sort of, let's go back through the time. How old were you when you joined the club, and just sort of talk us through those early years?
Yeah, I was 9 or 10 I think, when I first came. I remember Vinny Brockie, you won't know who he is. He played for Leeds. He was my coach then, and he looked after me all the way up until scholar. So yeah, signed my scholar, signed a pro, then started playing went on loan twice, and then started playing obviously in the Championship, and then obviously some games in League One as well. Yeah, so it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and you haven't always had it easy even during your formative years here, have you? You've sort of struggled with injury. I think with your back, wasn't it, that sort of caused you a few problems. So you've sort of had to be mentally strong, not just in the last 2 years, but all your time here, pretty much.
Yeah, I've had a few, not much luck really. I've had, when I was 16, I think I was 5'8", and then obviously I shot up to 6'2", 6'3". So I had about 4 stress fractures in my back. So that took about a year and a half to come back from. Because obviously you can't come back while you're growing because your back's just going to keep niggling. So yeah, came back from that, then the back problems went. had a few years and then obviously did this. So it's not much luck, but that's football and it happens. You can't sit and feel sorry for yourself and ask why me. You just got to get on with it.
You touched on the spell in the Championship a few years ago, of course, now, but would you say that was your best spell at the club?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. I remember coming back from loan and then I trained for a week and then started against Bournemouth. So that would probably be my highlight, and then obviously getting a run of games in the Championship. I think it was 10, 15 games against some good teams, good games on Sky and stuff. So I'd say that would definitely be my most confident then, and felt a lot of confidence in me as well. So bringing the best out of me as well.
Yeah, and your sort of time away from the action, so to speak, you've had a lot of time to sort of watch a lot of football and watch a lot of Barnsley play. It's obviously a club and team you care a lot about. You've got a lot of friends here and sort of things. What have you made of their performances so far this season?
Yeah, I think we've done really well. To be fair, I think the gaffer's getting a lot out of them, and they're doing really well. You can see how we're wanting to play and how we're playing, and the points are coming now. So hopefully the lads can go on a good run, and we all know what the end goal is for us all, for the lads and the managing staff and everyone. So fingers crossed, they can go on to achieve it. Yeah,
and you're one of the sort of players that's been here the longest now. In that change room and in the setup. I think you and Marshy probably the longest. But have you sort of been able to make friends and build relationships with the lads who are currently in the first team? Because, like I say, you are around the place a lot, and you're still sort of working with them. So have you managed to make friends and stuff? Yeah,
all the lads. Well, quite close with all of them, to be fair. There's not really any that I don't get along with or don't like. They're all good lads, and I get on with a lot of them. Have a lot of banter and got a lot of interest away from football, similar to a lot of the lads. So I get on with everyone, to be fair. Yeah. I think I've seen you a lot anyway in Kit Man Chris's room. How's your pool and how's your darts going along? Yeah, my darts is very good at the minute, to be fair. Throwing a lot of, I've had a few 180s in there. And I love pool and snooker and that. I love like pub games and stuff. I'm loving playing them at the minute. Yeah, but listen, let's get back to what you want to do. Obviously, you want to keep playing football. Yeah. You're very determined. You've got the best sort of support behind you now. So what would you say is next? What's your focus in the next weeks, months? Just my focus is getting back fit. Yeah, and then I'm not really thinking about what club am I going to get, where am I going to go. It's not even in my thought processes. My thought process is get back fit, keep coming in, doing everything to the best of my ability, and then the rest will take care of itself, hopefully, following some good performances when I get back. Well, Matty, this is not the end. You're going to be around a lot more over the next few months, but I think on behalf of all the Barnsley fans, I want to say thank you for everything you've done with the club and all your hard work whilst you represented the Reds. And like I said, it's not the end. You'll be here a bit longer as well. Yeah. Thank you very much, Lewis. Thank you. Cheers, Paul. A little surprise for you. We've managed to dig out your interview after your first appearance. I think it was against Nottingham Forest a few years ago. Just interested to get your reaction to it, just see how much you've changed and what your thoughts are from that happy time.
Barnsley debut, you must be delighted.
Over the moon. It still feels surreal now after the game, but got the 3 points and that's the most important thing today.
Did you know before the game if you were coming on?
No, not a clue. To be fair, this is the only game where I thought he's not going to throw me on because it's so important, but when he shouted me over, I was just buzzing to come on and try out the lads.
I'm going to say, what's that feeling like knowing that you're coming on and making your debut?
I can't even describe it. It's sort of just like a blur, and then the next thing you know, you're on the pitch, so just the adrenaline kicks in and you're just ready to go and help the team.
And nearly a goal as well.
Yeah.
What would you have done if that had gone in?
I think I'd have run around the whole pitch, took my top off, everything, slid about and that, but we got the 3 points and just got to focus on Wednesday now.
How important was Patrick's goal?
Well, that's it, innit? We had to win today. We knew we had to win. Patrick puts it in the back of the net. All credit to him, and it was just an amazing feeling, just celebrating and then holding on for the last 5 minutes. Were just quite nerve-wracking, but buzzing to finish it off, wasn't it?
What's the mood like in the changing room now after that win?
Yeah, buzzing. Everyone's buzzing, but like I said, we can't be overly happy with it. We've got Wednesday now. We've just got to get his head down, not get carried away. this was the second to last game, the semi-final. Now we've got a final on Wednesday.
Matty, just watched the video there. Just in the video, it references obviously first appearance. You said in that video that you didn't know you were coming on, and it was a bit of a surprise, and obviously you were buzzing.
Yeah.
Now you've had sort of the gift of time to look back and reflect. Is your emotions on that sort of appearance changed, or is it just sort of the same sort of bewilderment?
I'd say probably similar, yeah. I remember because I think we needed to win, otherwise we were relegated. It's the year where we beat Brentford in the last game of the season to stay up. Obviously I didn't think I was coming on, like I said, and I got shouted over, and it's just that adrenaline, which sometimes goes after a few games. You don't really get it anymore, but yeah, just that feeling, and then your belly turning and knowing you're coming on. And then obviously we scored, and it was just amazing, yeah. I wish I could go back and do it all again, just for that feeling again, yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, and also in the interview you said that you nearly scored.
Yeah.
Can you remember the chance now?
I think it came in... Oh yeah, it got clipped over to the back stick, and I've just sort of volleyed it back across, and keeper saved it, but yeah, like I said, I'd have still gone mad if that went in now.
Yeah. And that season, obviously a very special season, just with how it ended, I don't think it'll ever be replicated again.
No.
Just the sheer drama of it. What was it like being part of that sort of team that stayed up in that fashion, but also just the times you were in? Obviously COVID, it was a very strange time. Just I imagine the camaraderie and the sort of shell that you're in just made it 10 times better.
Yeah, obviously there were no fans and stuff. It were stadiums were empty, and I was quite young. Well, I was really young, and I was just in and around it all year, and I was getting better and better in training. And then obviously I got my chance, but just being in and around it then, with some of the players we had then, I think sometimes you take it for granted when you look back on it. You take it for granted how special and how amazing it was for us to obviously stay up that year all together. And I remember the drinks on the way home, and everyone were buzzing and that from London. So yeah, it was just amazing, yeah, amazing period and amazing collective achievement for the club, yeah.
I think you'll all join Callum and I and everyone here at the club in wishing Matty the best of luck in his future.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's important to note as well that it's a short-term bit of surgery. Matty will definitely be back on the pitch soon and playing at another club. And of course, and I'm sure all fans will agree, he's welcome back at Oakwell anytime.
So Callum, Cambridge, slightly fortuitous opener for the home side, followed by arguably one of the best performances of the season so far. We've left with just a point, but overall, a lot to be happy with.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly a frustrating one, and it definitely felt like that at the time. I interviewed Darryl Clark on the pitch after the game, and he sort of alluded to that it felt like 2 points dropped. And I think I could probably echo that, really, because Barnsley's performance, Barnsley's chances certainly warranted a victory, certainly warranted 3 points. Now, there's no shame in getting a point there. Away from home, again, I know Barnsley have been really good away from home, but a point away from home is never a bad result, absolutely not. And Cambridge might have been in the relegation zone, but like we said last week, they'd been on a decent run, they'd won. Prior to Barnsley's game, they lost the weekend before, they'd won 5 on the bounce. So they were on a really, really good run, certainly a good team under Gary Monk, and you'd think now they're going to be climbing up the table. So their form had changed. So going into it, you never really knew what to expect. It could potentially be a banana skin, and as you say, a bit of a lucky first goal to them, to be fair. Take nothing away from them, of course, but sort of inside the first 5 minutes, and a really big deflection totally took it away from Ben Killip and gave the goalkeeper absolutely no chance of doing anything about it. I think it ricocheted off John Russell. He knew nothing about it as well. So it's just one of those things, unfortunately. Yeah. And then just after that, Max Waters has to come off injured as well. So the whole plan, the whole setup, the whole preparation goes totally out the window. We change shape. Kelechi Wakali comes on, and we go to a front two with Davies Keeler-Dunn and Stephen Humphreys. Thankfully, after all that sort of commotion and adversity, the lads came over it really quickly.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You've mentioned a few points there that kind of worked against them. Do you think that the bounce back was a lot better than what it was at the start?
If there is adversity, if there is sort of a negative point in the game, they react in a really positive way. They show fantastic character. Good. I mean, it took, 10, 11, 12 minutes for the Reds to go up the other end and get a wonderful equaliser. I mean, Stephen Humphreys is ran with the ball, 50, 60 yards and then smashed it in the back of the net. I think the manager actually said to be able to do that, run that far with the ball, keep the defender away from him. He even had Davies Keeler done as an option to his right. It looked as though that would be the obvious one. He's taken it himself and still buried it and got the equaliser.
Absolutely.
So, incredible confidence to do that, incredible quality to do that as well. We had the chances, we really, really did. I don't necessarily think it was a case of Barnsley poor in front of goal. I just don't think we quite got the rub of the green. So crosses coming in and maybe it just taking a deflection at the last moment, or maybe players taking their eye off it at the very last moment. Little things like that. Adam Phillips had a couple of chances that just flashed wide of the post. On another day, they might have gone in, the right side of the post, in the back of the net, and Barnsley run off with that and score 3-4. So it just wasn't meant to be, but plenty of positives. As I mentioned, Kelechi Wakali coming on in the 5th minute. That's the first real time we've seen him in a Barnsley shirt for a long period of time in League One.
Yeah.
And
when was the last time he...
So he came off the bench away at Shrewsbury.
Wasn't that a cup game, yeah?
Well, so that was in the league. He only had a few minutes off the bench at that point. He played away at Huddersfield in the cup as well, and put a really good performance in. Trying to pass the ball forward. So we got a little bit of taste of what to expect from him.
Yeah. But
we really got to see it away at Cambridge, and I thought it was fantastic. A real bright spark. Always wanting the ball, getting it off the centre halves on the half turn, and just sort of spraying balls all over the pitch. Some wonderful passes right to the feet of the wing-backs that allowed them to push up really high and hurt the opposition. Really impressive. Not only his good quality on the ball, his technical ability, he was winning the ball back often as well and really putting in that effort off the ball, which is huge for that sort of deep-lying six that's going to be doing that sort of thing and winning the ball back, but also playing and getting and starting attacks as well. So really impressive, and just an added supplement to Barnsley's midfield. You'd have to say one of the strongest midfields already in the division. So to add Wakali to that, it's really exciting.
I know you mentioned, obviously, the goal, the very memorable goal, and let's relive it. And for those that are watching on YouTube, the celebration is another viral one. Obviously, another great celebration from Humps this time again. I'm always waiting to see what they do next week.
It was a little dance this time, wasn't it? We had the swimming one a few weeks ago. I'm loving the celebrations at the moment. There's a real good sort of camaraderie in the team spirit. It's great to see, isn't it?
Absolutely. What would be your celebration if you'd score a goal?
Put me on the spot there. I think I'd just give it to Shearer. Boring. I'd just put my hand in the air. That'd
Very
be mine.
good. Mine would be Talisa, the female boss.
So before we look to Saturday, let's take a look back at our history with Tim and On This Day Barnsley.
The focus of it today is on Bob Glendinning, who I think deserves to be remembered as a legend. He played every FA Cup game as the Reds got to the final against Newcastle United, losing after a replay in 1910. And again, played every game as the Reds got to the final, this time winning in 1912, again after a replay against West Bromwich Albion. After 168 games for Barnsley, he moved to Bolton Wanderers for a club record sale of £1,200 in March 1913. And ultimately, he became the Netherlands national coach. He's very well respected in that position. He won 36 of 87 games as their manager. He led them to the World Cup finals in 1934 and again in 1938, and remains the Netherlands' longest serving manager. He's buried now in St Peter's Churchyard in Halliwell near Bolton, and such is the esteem that he's held in the Netherlands that the Dutch FA still maintain his headstone. Bob Glendinning, a real Barnsley FC legend.
This week sees Wigan Athletic come to Oakwell. It's been a difficult start to the season for the Latics, but Sean Maloney has got a solid squad at his disposal when fit. Callum, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, well, as you say, they're struggling at the moment. They're in some bad form. I think they're winless in 5 in the league, maybe even more than that off the top of my head, to be fair, Wigan. So they've not had the best of starts, and I sort of like to look at the start of every season and sort of envisage what sort of teams will be up there competing with Barnsley sort of for the top 6, for the top 2, and I expected Wigan to be pushing a little bit higher up. Now, that's not to say it's not going to happen. There's still plenty of football left to be played, of course, but they had sort of a difficult season last season with the points deduction and overcome it really well, to be honest. They played some decent football and Sean Maloney looked to be getting a decent tune out of them. Obviously, unfortunately for them, and fortunately for us, they've lost Stephen Humphreys. So a huge player for them last season, full of quality, and we're seeing a lot of that already this season, aren't we? So they're missing a big player in that, and maybe they've just not quite replaced the goals that he might bring and quality that they might have lost in the summer elsewhere on the pitch as well. Yeah. It's for whatever reason, it's not coming together at the moment, is it? But, as I always say, I never want to keep saying the same things, but there's never an easy game in this division. Of course there isn't. No. I know I say that every week.
League One's just like that.
Exactly, yeah. And I think you can see with the performances now, week in, week out, that the players and the manager totally understand that. And I think also, playing aside that are in a bad run of form, Barnsley have obviously just done the opposite and played Cambridge, who were in a really good spell and obviously found it difficult in that regard. But also, playing a team sometimes that are on a bad run of form can also be difficult as well. You never know which side of the coin you're going to get.
Is that sometimes mentality? That you go into it a little bit confident, thinking... Yeah,
potentially.
Or just that they're due a win.
Yeah, exactly that. I don't think complacency will creep in. I don't think the manager and the players allow that to happen. I think you can see with the sort of efficiency, the desire in each week. Yeah, attitude, exactly that. But, as you say, teams can often be due a win. All of a sudden, a manager makes 6 changes and those 6 players come into the side and really want to prove a point, really want to take all of that shirt. And all of a sudden, away from home, Wigan might put in a fantastic performance and come away with something. You just never know. Anybody can beat anybody in this division. It's cliche, but often you find the Championship, League One in particular, that can happen. These things can happen. So Barnsley will certainly have to be on the top of the game, as they are every week, as they're putting that same level of effort every single week. And they did last Saturday as well. Coming up to a busy period now. It's Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, these next 3 games, and it carries on well into December. So you're really going to need a lot of players used. A lot of the squad is going to get used, and I think Barnsley have got good depth to be able to dip into that and players to come on and make an impact. So hopefully we'll come out the back end of this in a positive way, as we're saying, starting with Wigan. You're looking at it on paper, it's an easier fixture, but we know that's never the case. And hopefully the Reds can put in a performance off the back of a victory at home against Rotherham United as well, and hopefully we can follow that up with back-to-back wins for the first time in what would be a pretty long time. But hopefully we've seen the home form improving now, and the Reds will kick on.
Looking at the past meetings, it's 6 wins, 6 defeats and 7 draws. The last win was a League Cup penalty shootout back in August, with Gaga the hero after Donovan Pines scored a second-half equaliser. And last season it was a 2-0 win away from home and a 1-1 draw at Oakwell on New Year's Day.
So, as always then, we'll look to try and give a score prediction for this weekend's game and try and get it right, of course. Wigan coming up then, Holly, what do you reckon?
I'm going to say 2-0. I've had quite a tragic run of incorrect results so far on all my predictions. But like I said last week, as long as they're winning, I'm happy. But I do think we can do 2-0.
Yeah, do you know what? I was going to say 2-0 as well, so I'm going to change it. You've put me on the spot now. I started really well, but it's taken a turn.
For the first time ever, we say the same thing.
We can't do that, surely.
Go on then.
I'll go 3-0. Hopefully, we win in any circumstance. We'll take a 1-0 in the 94th minute, of course, but I'm going 3-0.
We'll see then. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the podcast, The Oakwell Update. I'm Holly Tandy.
I'm Callum Cooper.
You Reds!